Wrestling fans, I'm Dan Marty.
MJ in the house. Marty Jannetty, the rocker Marty Jannetty.
Everybody around the corner and around the globe is talking about wrestling inside his Party with Marty. Brand new episode is up next.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans, it's Thursday night. It's 9 p.m. There's only one place you'd like to be. Here on Wrestling Insiders with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Marty Jannetty.
MJ in the house.
Keep on rocking. And you know what? I guess you're worried that I'm a germaphobe now. You got the mask. You're being socially distant.
You know what happened was, well, I'm scared to take it off.
Yeah.
Can I take it off?
You can do whatever you want.
Well, I don't say that. There's a couple girls around the corner.
Annie and Gina, yeah.
My flight in here, this time, they didn't do that last time. You have to sign your life away to come into Boston. You have to sign a thing saying that you're going to quarantine for the first 14 days. And you know, coming from Georgia, which is somewhat a hot spot, they interrogated. Like, well, never mind, man, just send me back home.
Who did the interrogation?
Well, everybody has to sign a form but coming into Boston. And it's basically saying you've got negative test results, or you're going to quarantine for 14 days, which, what are you going to do, fly in and get in the hotel room and just sit there for 14 days? But, yeah, it's just, they want to know where you live, you know, how can they contact you, email, phone number, everything. And it's just so we can get in here and do this.
Do you think it's a good thing?
Well, I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
But it just scared me.
You weren't expecting it to be so stern.
Well, you know,
who actually
from the
did
police,
it?
I would expect that, but from them, I was like,
but was it
just trying to catch a flight?
People that work on the airlines, or who actually?
No, I think it's. I have it on my phone. I'll show you later.
Oh, you took a picture.
Well, you have to take a picture of a little code thing, and then it pulls up the agreement.
No shit, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was thinking, well, might have should have told somebody that before they bought the flight. What if they said, you know, no, I don't want to sign my life away. But it is good because we got to get everything down. You know, Georgia's pretty bad, and I live down that way right now. I think some of the colleges partied too hard. And they called me to come to them. I said, no, man. But they partied too hard, and you know, some of the COVID took off again. And I guess they opened the gyms and a couple other things, and it just got out of hand again. So they're really looking at Georgia as a hot seat. If you're flying in from Georgia, they're really looking at you. But what I was going to say out of that was Georgia, though, I mean, you know, wearing the mask and stuff, but when I come up here to Boston, people got the mask, they got gloves. Today at the gym, some dude had plastic baggies over his feet.
Get out of here, really?
No,
really?
Yeah,
wow.
I'm like, damn, Boston, what's happening?
Well, Boston has been, you know, better safe than sorry has been their approach.
I don't blame them.
I know Georgia, but we were talking in the car last night, Bill Eadie, Demolition Axe, who teaches down in Georgia. He was back to school with the kids in June. Never mind here in Massachusetts, the kids aren't even going back for the new fall season. It's going to start in most cities remotely online again. So the little one that was just here to get his birthday gifts, you know, it was a tough spring for him. He wanted to be out with his friends, and every day he had to sit at a computer. The teachers weren't prepared for anything like this, so the work really wasn't all that engaging. And now I hope they have a better plan, at least for the fall year, until they're able to actually go back into the building.
You learn as you go, I guess.
Yeah. The kids
make the adjustments, trial and error. I can't imagine. Of course, I had a whole different scenario at the house. You know, I wanted to get away from, but I can't imagine not getting to go to class, only to get away from home.
Right, yeah,
know?
Exactly. When I told him that that's how it was going to work in the city where he lives in Saugus, he was very disappointed. He said he hated doing the online classes. He wanted to go back to school. I was hoping, like with some of the colleges, one of the interns down here, Gabe, he's going to college 1 day a week, and the rest of it's going to be remote. And I think that would be great for the, the school-age kids, just to get them out of the house and around people again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's got to have some kind of mental impact, psychologically. Different than what we were raised. You go to class without.
Right, yeah.
You learn how to socialize. You can't learn how to socialize in front of a computer at home. Yeah, man, I feel bad for him. But if Joe Biden gets elected, it's going to be worse.
You think the virus is going to get
worse? Well, he wants
worse?
to shut the country down again. Okay, we went political, did we? Sorry about that.
No. Well, if you ever seen Tony's episodes, my God.
Really?
We had to let him do his own world news shows for a while, where he just shared his thoughts on CNN and Fox News. But
did he?
Oh, he loves current events. He really does, and he's well versed in it for him. But
for him, what the hell that mean?
Well, maybe that came out wrong.
Damn.
I think you know
Sorry,
what
Tony.
I mean. I think you. I think you know what I meant by that.
I know what you meant, but I bet he does too.
Oh, poor Tony.
I can just hear him now.
Marty,
Dan, what you saying, Dan?
I tell you, Marty, it's been an interesting time. Since we last saw each other in person, has anything interesting happened?
Yeah, man, the Braves lost Acuna Jr. I think
that was it. Yeah.
Matt was saying he's maybe only a 10-day IR, but we need him. And Matt's got him for the Braves winning the World Series.
Really?
Yeah. So we bonded real quick.
Well, you and Bill have that in common. He's a big Braves fan too.
Is that right?
Oh, a big Braves fan.
I think they're gonna do all right. Acuna gets back. And you see, I'm supporting I'm repping my team today, except I got my Atlanta Falcons socks on.
Now, last time you had the New Orleans Saints socks.
Yeah, I always see this cut right here. Can you see
socks.
that gash?
What happened to the leg?
I'm not sure if it was a bullet graze or a knife or if I fell down the stairs.
You don't remember? Maybe that's for the best.
I kind of do remember. I just don't want to tell. Oh. I'm already in trouble.
Well, I mean, I think we would almost be insulting the folks' intelligence if we didn't touch upon the fact that you were in the news a little bit. How were things going for you? Calm down a little?
A little bit. To be honest, I was worried about coming through security at the airport.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, because they, until they investigate this and find out what's really going on, they might have kept me in the state of Georgia. Now you can't leave the state, kind of thing. I mean, in the end, it's all going to work out, and everybody will know why later. I'll tell y'all later, not right now. But I'm looking forward to letting it go.
Putting it in the past where it belongs.
Yeah.
And you told me you heard from some high-profile people, didn't you? See Mike Tyson gave you a call, and Dennis
Rodman. A lot of them. A lot of my friends that's high profile. Thing is, I can't say nothing right now.
But you're doing all right, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
All right, good. Because there are people that have been genuinely because you got banned from Facebook for a little bit. So when people didn't hear from you, they were becoming worried. I know we received a lot of messages just to make sure you were doing okay.
Yeah, and a couple of my girls got calls from the Columbus Police Department.
Really?
Wanting to know whatever they're doing an investigation. But, like I said, I'll spill the beans on everything later, not right now.
Once everything calms down, the sea will be smooth, and you can I know you're working on that great book, so what a great way to.
And I'm glad I wasn't finished. That's somebody asked me once, like, hurry up and finish it. And I'm like, well, I can't hurry up and make everything happen that's going to happen.
Exactly.
Who would have known that TMZ and People Magazine and Inside Edition would all come beating down my doors and all my friends trying to get interviews and stuff, and over something that they're going to be going to feel real foolish at the end.
Well, I'll tell you in person, and I know I said it to you on the phone, I consider whatever happened that day, you did the world a favor. Anyone that would try and attack a kid deserves whatever happens to them, injury or otherwise.
And not to get too much into it right now, but the amazing thing to me is that kid, that little 13-year-old kid, is getting called a murderer, even in his grown-up days, but they're calling him a murderer.
Junior high school kid.
In fact, that's exactly what it was at the age at that time. I guess they call it middle school now.
Yeah, middle school.
But I don't understand the kid defended himself. Now sometimes if there's there's this thing called accidental murder or accidental death. That's not murder. It's separate things. I mean, in that story, the kid did not mean for the guy to croak over, but he didn't want the guy, getting up in him.
He didn't want to be assaulted and molested and raped.
And then
that's the point of view that I think anyone with any common sense should look at it.
And who's to say he wouldn't have got murdered at the end? A lot of times rape victims get murdered, so they can't talk. And
it probably wasn't the first time that asshole ever tried to do that to an innocent kid.
And
if he was still around, whatever may have happened after the fact, I'm sure the 13-year-old kid wouldn't have been the last person he tried to attack. That's what those scumbags seem to do.
Yeah.
So if you can get rid of someone like that, instead of making social media headlines, what happened was a fucking predator was taken off the streets, or at least stopped in one instance. And I think that's a great thing.
Well, just remember, I mean, even there's a backstory to this that will come out later. I can't tell it right now.
Well, it's your story to tell.
It's gonna probably shock a lot of people as much as the original story did.
Oh. Well, I guess I better charge my cell phone, because I tell you, it was almost out of juice that when I woke up that morning, when everything broke that day, and then the emails, like I said, that we've received here from media outlets all over the world looking for you. It's been an interesting couple of weeks, to say the least.
Oh my God, I got stuff on my phone here. My fans and friends in Germany, England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, Japan, Australia. I mean, the whole damn world, the whole wrestling world, and then it trickled over into the general public, all over the world. And like I said, once I tell part 2 of this, we'll see if that makes the newspapers.
Well, it just, as I said to you when we spoke privately and on the phone, it really bothered me, those headlines, how people could try and be that malicious to try and create buzzy headlines for Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. What in reality it was a story about a 13-year-old kid trying to fend off being raped by someone. I was infuriated when I saw those other headlines. You know what I mean?
And in the story about the kid, he was a victim.
Yes.
And as I told the story, he made someone disappear. Might have even said the first time. He might have, the words got messed up on that. But he made somebody disappear. That could mean he just left and never came around again. That doesn't mean till me and you took it a step further.
Well.
And at one point I was almost upset with him, like, man, this is almost like he's getting me to do a confession of murder on the radio or a podcast where,
I just thought, as I said to you, the point of view needed to be presented instead of WWE superstar Marty Jannetty murders gay guy. The headline should have been, if it was needed to be a headline at all, 13-year-old junior high school kid fights off an attacker. I mean, what more do you really need to? How else should you word that story?
At least put what I said.
Right.
Made him disappear.
Right.
Not murdered.
Right.
Murder confessions. Man.
You just didn't see him again after that day. That's all.
Yeah.
That's how it ended.
Yeah. Until me and you talked.
Well, what happened at that point?
Well, you kind of helped me along though. Every time it was just flowing. It was just coming out too. Uh-huh. And then it wouldn't be like I got to think of what's the next thing to say. It was coming, but then, I mean, if I hesitated for a second, you kind of, and what else happened, or did you drag him this way, or what, and then I could pick up and keep going, so it was, but I mean, that was so detailed. I think that might be when the police said, you know what, let's go ahead and look for missing persons.
I really, at this day and age, the police, the local authorities, they have to appease the people on social media. Like we had that conversation last night about Velveteen Dream and NXT. I mean, some of the people on social media nowadays, when they latch on to something, and I can imagine that's a small-town police department. I can't imagine they're worried about a case from 47 years ago.
And especially what was told,
right.
what it involved. But I mean, I think they did. They checked, and there was no missing persons. And so,
So all
the
said
way
and
they,
done.
well, no, the way they
No?
got it right now, they're going to do a thorough investigation, but it's not on their priority list. So.
Exactly. 47 years ago, I don't think anyone's too worried about the individual.
Yeah, especially when nobody asks about him.
Right, right. All right, well, Marty, the fans were very interested to know. We lost one of the greats in professional wrestling not too long ago, a man that you intertwined with in WWF for a little bit, 1992 and 93, maybe even previously in some of the territories. Ugandan giant Kamala we lost.
Yeah, we actually met way back in
Kansas City?
There, he came through there, but I'd met him in Mid-South, Bill Watts' old territory.
Oh.
If I'm sitting kind of off to the side, I apologize. It's because on this side right here, I got this receding hairline. And like one of my girls over in England, she's got the same thing. It recedes on one side. And I keep looking in the mirror, and I keep thinking of her. I look like her. And
She's got the Deborah McMichael gimmick.
is that what it is? and so this side, I'm sorry, I'm
well, the thing is, Marty, when you have a great crew like we have in the back, the technical director, Ralph Owens, the prodigy, Matt Degnan, we got my good friend Howard Miller, who was Howard Stern's stunt double in Private Parts coming down. Unlike the one known as Glantz that no-showed on us, we got a great crew, and you know what?
Why do you keep bothering him?
What do you mean? I'm out for blood on this one, baby. What's the one thing they teach you in
That's why he didn't
wrestling?
come back.
Always make the town. That's all. You just got to make the town. Don't no-show.
Yeah, but you keep calling him a Jew.
I didn't say that. I called him Glantz.
Oh. Well, you got out that one. I ain't going to say it. He's been walking around the studio all day. And Jew didn't show up. The Jew didn't. But he was mocking the Iron Sheik, though. Iron Sheik.
A little Cause Vaziri action.
Yeah.
We got great camera people that can adjust as we need to.
That will be edited, won't it?
Well, I don't edit very much, believe me.
I saw the one. I only got to see part of it. I thought it was all right. I mean,
our premiere episode.
I got to work on my talking because I mumble so much. But I saw one. It wasn't an abrupt cut, but it was like.
What was the cut?
It was shoot, I can't remember. It was just, and it wasn't.
There were pictures that were inserted over it. But you think we cut something out of the conversation?
Oh no! I think it was. It was. The only reason I noticed is because I look for stuff like that besides just a conversation.
I don't remember anything being edited out
really,
of that
it might
episode.
not have. Maybe it was just a camera change, angle change, or something.
When you watch it again from the beginning,
But it wasn't nothing to story. Nothing was cut out like words wise. It was just like it might have been stopped right there.
Maybe it was the way they switched the cameras.
Or maybe we took one of them breaks real quick or something.
Maybe.
That could.
But when you watch the episode again from beginning to end, try and make note of where you know. As I'm kind of genuinely interested now.
Okay.
Because I actually did the physical editing, and I can't think of anything that was cut.
Well, like I said, I don't think it was cut out. It was just cut to another.
Just a switch or something. Okay.
Yeah, and like remember a couple times we had to cut right away because either something technical problems or I had to do the Flomax.
I forgot about the Flomax until now. But you're the first person I think that's ever watched them closely enough to even notice something like that. Of all the guys we've had in and out of this studio the past 19 years, so I tip the cap to you if I had one on.
Well,
I respect that.
I brought my Braves hat and we wear it.
It's nice to see someone on the show feel like they're taking ownership of it. You know what I mean? Honest to God. We don't want guys just to come in and sit down and do an interview. We want them to feel like, this is part of your story. You want to present it the best way possible, your thoughts, your experiences, your opinions.
Yeah.
We want it to be good stuff.
Yeah, all of us. I mean, we're working together.
And as we mentioned, Kamala a few minutes ago, he was another gentleman that just sat right in that seat. He actually sang right here.
Yeah.
Did you know he sang?
No. Oh, yeah, he sang in the car a couple of times on road trips. But we had to drink a lot of beer to hear it. Yeah, I loved him to death, man. We'd sit back in his dressing room and cut up. And he, in a way, he kind of kept to himself. He had a friend here and there that was special to him. But me and him hung out all the time and would, cut up and we'd laugh with ourselves. And he was just like what do you call it? Person that doesn't care to let himself out, introvert maybe.
Yeah, introvert. Yeah, that'd be a good way to describe it.
But you see that in him? You see what I mean?
Yeah. Even when we did the interview, I mean, we did a 3-hour documentary style interview with him, and it took a little bit of a conversation for him to feel comfortable enough to come out with some of his life experiences, if that makes any sense. But it wound up being a great interview. We had a lot of fun. It got sad at times with some of his life experiences, and we had some laughs too. I've described that interview as emotional. It was one of the most emotional ones we've ever done, as opposed to the Sheik, who came in high as a kite, yelling and screaming and threatening to rape men, but with no teeth in.
Where's the medicine?
I tell you, with all the, not to shy away from Kamala, but with all the buzz that came out of everything with you a couple of weeks ago, I still don't think it was as much buzz as when Howard Stern started to play the clips from the interview we did with the Sheik every day on his talk show. I could not believe our late friend, the Jackal, the great commentator who we miss every day. I remember he emailed me. He said, "Guess who's on Howard Stern today?" I said, "I have no idea." "Who?" He said, "You." I said, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Howard Stern or
Howard
Finkel?
Stern. No, Stern. And I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Howard Stern is taking the clips from YouTube of that interview you did with the Sheik, and they did it for over a year."
Can they do that legally?
I think if it's less than 15 seconds, it's called fair usage or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So they could get away with it, but it wound up working out good. They wound
Well,
up,
yeah, of course. I was just wondering if that was legal. Because I'll start doing it if it is.
They wound up having Sheik on the show, and in exchange to actually use the footage, they gave us free commercial time to promote live events. So it worked out really good.
Yeah,
they were actually some really good people over at Howard Stern. I wish I got to go on with them, but you know. And the funny thing is, with all my years now of that being all over the internet, everyone knows me as Dan Maloney, because the Sheik couldn't say my name for the life of me. And Tony, who I've known since 1993, calls me Dan Morella. So
Morella. There's Joey and Gorilla.
no kidding, right? Yeah. So when I die, I'm gonna need a billboard for my cemetery headstone when I go, because no one will recognize me by my regular name. I'll have to throw the other ones on. But
what is your regular name?
Muradi.
Say it again.
Muradi.
You what?
Muradi.
I'm sorry.
And you're screwing with me.
No. Oh no, I've heard you. I'm just sorry that's your name.
Oh, no, Muradi. All right. Well, apparently he finds humor in it too. But I think I'll.
No, I was just playing. You know that.
When I run into people anywhere at conventions or shows, they go, "Oh, Dan Maloney, you no good son of a bitch." Oh, I miss that poor guy. But anyway, back to Kamala. Did you ever work with him?
I think I did have a match with him.
What was it like to work with him?
Oh, man,
I mean, he's a lot bigger than me, and I'm a relatively big guy.
He's so light, man. Sometimes if he was behind you, you'd hear the stomping of the feet's the only way you knew, because I mean, he was so light, you know. But at least he was with me. I'd hate if he didn't like him. I imagine he could lay it in.
A lot of guys have said that he was very smooth.
Yeah,
very smooth.
Yeah, real smooth. We was talking, you know, he's funny things. I think it was in Kansas City. We didn't work together that night. He was just coming through, and we hit it off in the beginning. You know, sitting there and cutting up. But I'd ask him, I said, "How do you like the gimmick, character?" You know, and he goes, "Marty, it's the only way I could get him to like a big fat black man." I was like, okay. Yeah, what did you say to that?
Right.
But
where did you work with him? Was it in?
I think it was an independent.
Kansas City,
no, it was an independent show, and
Indy?
it was outdoors at a baseball park, and it's like a big baseball park. And the bad thing about doing baseball parks, yeah, you can have a couple thousand people there, and it looks empty.
And they're so spread out. Yeah.
It looks empty. But yeah.
He had a very sad end of life.
I enjoyed it. See, I didn't know that. He didn't ever get into that with me. You know, we kept it on the surface, you know, and you know, laugh around.
But did you know that he lost his legs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, and you know.
Well, there was a time during the, I can't say much about that either. Damn, I can't talk at all this legal shit. And it's about a lawsuit with WWE. I think we talked about it a little bit last time, didn't we?
I think we talked about it personally, not on the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got to be careful. My attorney said don't talk about the lawsuit, so I'm not going to talk about it. But yeah, we were kind of in the same boat, where as WWE was taking care of people with drug problems and alcohol problems, like going through rehab, paying for it. That's just expensive. You know, and I love all my boys, you know, Jake and, you know, Sonny and Scott Hall. I love them all. So I'm not saying anything against them. I'm just saying, though, the guys that come through, have been through there 10, 15 times. Well, I don't know about 15, but been through a lot. And, you know, they keep paying for it. All I needed was
a foot.
You know, actually, we're both bad, but we did this last time. But I love showing this, and I almost did it again. You see this ankle here? See how it's off the foot's over here, the leg bone's going over here?
It's just like the Sheik after we were in that car accident.
Is that what it was?
When I saw you walk that first time when you went into the convenience store when you were here last month,
yeah,
I said, before Sheik was completely immobile like he is now, I said, that's exactly what Sheik is like, walking on, not on his foot, he's walking on his ankle.
I always think about that too, because you know, I've seen him a couple times in the airports.
It's brutal.
See, when you're in pain all the time, everything that's bad gets magnified, and things that are good are not quite as good. You know, because you're constantly grimacing, and you know, my toes, I would take all my damn clothes off. I mean, my clothes on my feet off. My toes are actually curled permanently until they get surgery, curled under from the squinching all the time, and possibly digging into for grip, you know, to balance. Because I mean, this when walking over here on this bone, you know, leg bone, it's like walking on a pogo stick. I mean, you ain't got no balance. And this one is just bone on bone so bad. But anyway, that was the whole purpose of the, you know, the lawsuit was look, man, take some of that money y'all just made last quarter off of me. You know, it ain't like you know it's costing you anything. You're making money on me still. But
there's a lot of individuals.
But because Kamala, I think before what happened to regular, but he had something bad with him before they got cut off.
He had diabetes for a long time, and he didn't get dialysis for it. So it just worsened and worsened and worsened. But I'll say, this is a two-parter right now. A lot can be said about your situation, the pain you're in. Imagine if your physical problem could be rectified, there may never be an alcohol or a drug problem.
Right, and that was the thing that my brother pointed that out to me. He says, he goes, I'm getting worried about you. You're taking 10 and 15 Percocets, strong ones, like the 10s, a day, which I was probably taking a little more than that. That's all he would see me take. And he was getting concerned about it, you know, and he, you know, he pointed it out to me. I don't want to get that phone call, you know. And he said, you know, see, I told him, I already called him that I got to be quiet. I can't get into it too much.
Right.
Not supposed to be getting into it at all. Man, I can't do anything right.
Hey, I think you do a lot right.
I ain't supposed to talk about this, so I talk about it. I ain't supposed to talk about that, so I talk about it. But he told me to do the rehab, go through the rehab. I said, that's not going to do me any good. You know, it's this. It ain't the drinking is to kill the pain. The pain pills. That you know, I hate to say it, but after all the celebrities, who I like all of them, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Prince, but after they all started ODing and dying off it, it became impossible to get pain medicine.
Right, and you know what? And I've told you about, I developed the CRPS condition, which is just ungodly pain from that accident I was in with the Sheik, and you're exactly right. People that have legitimate physical needs now are being turned away by the doctors because they don't want to be put on the spot of someone potentially overdosing on it. And what do the people that actually need it do? They've put it in a really tough spot, and someone like you whose body has been just physically abused and tortured for almost 40 years, what do you do to get relief? And what do you do to get help?
There's a liquor store on every corner.
Yeah.
You know? And that's sometimes the way I look at it. Like when I'm training good and dieting good, liquor's the worst thing in the world because it slows your metabolism down.
Right.
Let alone makes you slur and make stupid phone calls to girls that you wouldn't usually have phone sex with. But, but uh-oh. Shouldn't have said that either. Now, the phone should start ringing. Let me see if I got it off. Yeah, I got it off. What was I saying? Oh, about the liquor store.
Liquor store,
Well,
yeah.
so we went back to, my brother said, he goes, go in there because they're going to psychoanalyze you or whatever it's called. the doctor will come in and ask you questions, and then they're going to see what the problem is. You know, that you're doing to self-medicate, and he goes, it'll be written in a report. And that way you have that. Again, now I'm dipping into that lawsuit thing. But it's exactly what happened. I went to a rehab in Lafayette, Louisiana, back when I was living in New Orleans with Pat Tanaka and his...
those must have been some interesting times.
Yeah.
Those must have been some interesting times.
Yeah.
Especially down in NOLA, huh?
Oh, yeah, man, where you can walk down the street with a bottle, just don't get out on the road.
Yeah.
You can drink, walking, you buy it at 7-Eleven.
Yeah. I look at some of these situations, though, Marty. How much would it cost to, in your instance, fix an ankle compared to, and I'm going to give WWE credit for this, when they send someone to rehab, they send them to the fine, first-class institutions, some of which are almost 6 figures for the rehab.
Yeah.
If they spent less on some of the physical, I don't think it would cost $100,000 to fix your ankle.
No, in fact,
you know what I mean?
They would catch a break, and I told them that.
Because financially, it would be cheaper for them.
Well, and also a good friend of mine, Dr. McCluskey, Lee McCluskey, we played football together in junior high and high school and college. Well, that was me in Watford in college. But anyway, he studied under Dr. Andrews, one of the best doctors in the world, and he's now one of the best ankle specialists in the world himself. And you know, I went in to see him, and first thing he said when I walked in, he goes, "My God," he goes, "I already know what's wrong with that one," without X-raying. I think he called it a collapse, something other. But he took the X-rays anyway, and then he came back out, and he goes, "You know, I do this for a living." He goes, "You got the worst ankles I've ever seen." Because I don't know how you walked in here. And, but he said, he goes, I told him, I said, "I don't have health insurance right now. What kind of break can I get?" And he said, "You ain't got to pay me at all. The hospital is a different charge. It's separate." And it would be St. Francis there in Columbus, Georgia.
Friend.
Was that?
That's a friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good man.
And, you know, he said, you know, I'll get it for you. Don't worry about that. So now I'm thinking, okay, that's probably about, and I got to get them both done. He wanted to stagger. He didn't want to do them both at the same time.
You'd be out of commission if they did both at the same time.
Yeah. Well, and the way he's going to do it is one. We're going to get this done here fairly soon. We're just waiting on an open spot because of COVID. Surgery is so backed up.
Everything.
Yeah. And but so we'll get fixed. But anyway, that was a break that WWE wouldn't have had to pay for. You know, the doctor's gonna do it for free. The hospital itself, that won't be that much, maybe 20 grand. I guess, I don't know.
You would have had.
I'm just guessing on that. But hell, he made more than 20 grand on me last quarter.
You would have had a resolution to a life problem, as opposed to, like you mentioned, some of the individuals that WWE has sent to rehab, near 6-figure rehabs, they've had to do it multiple times.
Yeah.
So,
they like you said earlier, they send you to the best.
They do.
That one in Lafayette, that's why I had to go. That's probably an hour, 15 minutes north of New Orleans. But this one, it was the best in the area. So, you know, I think it was like $30,000 for a month. So I didn't make the full month, but I had a problem with a couple of the instructors. I said, "No, I'm done here."
Yeah,
but I got what my brother said exactly. That happened. The doctor, he wrote it down. I have it on a piece of paper, because I believe his drinking problem comes from self-medicating for a pain, obvious pain in his ankle. That would solve his issue. That's what we needed on paper from a doctor. That's exactly what my brother said would happen. Good job,
Your
Gino.
brother's a smart guy. Gino Jannetty, baby. Good man. All in all, man, I'll be back to. Well, we just want you to be healthy. You know, as I was talking about that, the one that always stands out to me is Sherry Martel, because I spoke to her about an appearance not long before she passed away. And, you know, she just needed her back fixed.
Yeah, I remember that.
And the amount of stuff that poor lady was doing, it was just so sad.
She took better bumps than the boys.
She was like the female Bobby Heenan out there. I mean, big bumps for big men. She wasn't in there working with women. Yeah. Well, she did have a run as a woman wrestler.
Right, yeah.
When she was managing Savage and Ted, and Shawn Michaels. She was out there taking big bumps
Well,
from big guys in stiff rings. Stiff rings.
They were sticking her with people that needed a little help getting over to. I mean, Randy wouldn't have needed that, but it just accented the whole thing.
He just needed a fresh coat of paint after the Hogan and Elizabeth gimmick.
Yes. Yeah. And but like they bumped her over to Shawn. It kind of stagnated, so they wanted to, put her with him, so it got it over the hump.
And I thought that was a really good fit.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get there as your time in WWF, WWE goes on. But back to Kamala. You know what really bothers me, Marty, about that? I actually got personally involved in that. We actually, when I found out, I think he did lose both legs at this point. We did an online drive to try and raise some money for him. We're very active in the Cauliflower Alley Club, which I think you're familiar with. They made a nice donation to try and help him out. In the studio on a Sunday night, we did selling different merchandise and whatnot. And I'll never forget it. On the Monday morning, he turned heel. He demanded this money instantly. And I had to explain to him, when people make online payments, you don't get it automatically within minutes. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
To be able to send it to him. So he went online, and I tell you, aside from what we did, I was working with some of the highest ranking officials in WWE and their medical staff in Pittsburgh that does all the physicals when the guys go back on the road or when they sign a new talent. We were looking at potentially getting him 2 replacement legs.
Oh, yeah?
He went online in his wheelchair, sitting in front of his loincloths, showing off his, I don't know if stumps is the right way to put it, and he shot all over WWE, shot all over Vince McMahon, shot all over me. And you know what WWE's interest was in getting him 2 new legs at that point?
Same old.
I could say he shot himself in the foot, but. Yeah.
By the way, this might not be vodka.
I don't think that is. I think you're going to be disappointed if you're hoping for a little Smirnoff.
No, there's a little soda pop, carbonation come out.
Well, so it's just Kamala's death really hurt because I liked him an awful lot as a person, even though he made that stupid video.
Which one?
Kamala. I told you he made the video sitting in the wheelchair, and he attacked us. And he got the money. It just, the online payments have to come through. Then we had to issue a money order. And I sent the money order to make sure there was no shenanigans through the Cauliflower who sent it to them, to Kamala, because it's a non-profit organization.
Right.
But any final thoughts of Kamala? What did you think? What do you think he meant to the industry at his peak?
Well, he made character stuff. He was one of the originals way back with that outlandish. I don't know if outlandish is the word, but a different character, Ugandan giant. With stuff painted all over him. So I mean, we had characters back then. You had Sheik, the original Sheik, and you had Abdullah the Butcher, which he was just like a crazy man. He wasn't like a character. So he kind of advanced and was a trailblazer in the sense of opening the door for characters to come out. Because he was one of the originals.
I think he had a lot of credibility, and I think he had a lot of believability, which is certainly missing in this day and age.
That was the thing. I mean, you'd watch him work in the ring, and you'd think, man, he is a monster out there. And then he's like the most lovable guy. He's like
a big 6'6" teddy bear.
Yeah. That's exactly what we used to call him that. Something like bear, sugar bear or something.
That was his original gimmick, Sugar Bear Harris.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was just like a huge teddy bear, man. Nicest guy in the world. Very loving, very caring. He would get upset about when he would see mistreatments of some of the guys. He'd get upset about it. He wouldn't say much, but me and him would be sitting there, and he would, that ain't right, Marty. That ain't right. And I agreed, because see a lot of things in these dressing rooms.
Well, if you're interested, someday I'll send you the link to that interview. It was really interesting. From not even just a wrestling point of view, a human point of view. He opened up about a lot of his life outside of wrestling, and I hate to say it, it wasn't good,
Yeah, I never knew that part.
Yeah. But, his legacy will live on through YouTube and WWE Network and the video games that he's in and the action figures that he's in. And like I said, the big interview we did with him, fans can enjoy that for decades to come to learn about what was certainly a great gimmick. I remember the first time he was booked in Boston it was to work Hogan, December of 1986. I was legitimately scared when they played that, boom, 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 boom. And he had the mask. He was a scary guy, He played it to perfection.
Didn't you have Steve Lombardi come out with him?
He was Kimchi, yeah.
Empty. That's it. I couldn't remember the
Under
name.
the hood. He did a little hiding under the hood.
Yeah.
Well, in more ways than one. But
Hey. That's my boy. I love old Steve.
I like Steve. We sat with him at a WrestleCon a couple of years ago. Him and John Cena Sr. had long talks. I guess long talks is the best way to put it. He's someone. Think of the interviews he could do. My God, that guy was in WWE for what? 25 years?
Yeah.
Close to 30 years? I can't think of when he officially got released, but
you know, one of my fun stories with him, he loved the rib too. And remember when Jake Roberts and Bad News Brown was having their clash?
the sewer rats, yep.
Yeah.
Summer of 1990.
Yeah, boy, that was close.
You got it, though. Good catch.
They had brought a bunch of them, I don't know if they're wharf rats or New York City rats or what, but they were big-ass rats. And
Not the rats that you were usually dealing with.
No, but
These were real
probably
rats.
cleaner. but they had a bunch of cages. They had probably about 40 or 50 or 60 of them rats. Because it had to do with the rats and the snake, the snake.
That was his big gimmick. He brought in the Harlem sewer rats to combat Damien, the snake.
Lombardi comes over. They got the rack of the rats all over there. It was kind of interesting to walk by and just look at all these huge, big-ass rats. And Steve Lombardi come up to me. He goes, Marty, he goes, you fucked up, man. I'm like, what'd I do now? And he goes, you let all the rats out of the cage. And I'm like, I ain't even been over there yet. And he starts laughing. He goes, well, go over there. And I knew good and well that I went over there. There's rats running all over the damn place. The production girls are jumping up trying to climb the walls. People are screaming, running down the hallways. And them rats are scared of them. They're scared of the rats, so they're banging off each other. And it was, Steve's just sitting over there laughing his ass off. And somebody said, that sounds like something Marty would do. Steve said that.
Who let the rats out of the cage?
You know who it is.
Steve?
Steve. Well, I didn't see him, but I mean, just the way he come over.
The way he ribbed you with it.
Yeah. But that was fun, man. It was watching them rats. Them rats were just happened to be running the same direction. They weren't really chasing the production people.
The poor rats, they probably didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Just imagine it from the rat's point of view, being in a professional wrestling locker room.
Imagine what that snake was thinking. He could smell that.
You think so?
I don't know.
All right,
He might have.
Wrestling fans, unbelievable. The stories, the memories, the legends, the experiences from my friend Marty Jannetty here on Wrestling Insiders. We're going to bring it to you each and every Thursday night. Your response has been great. Some of the great fans that chimed in to help the cause during the premiere, they deserve a shout-out. Slick Rick B., one of Tony Atlas's neighbors up in Maine. We had Maria, you remind me of a West Side Story. She was a great help. Stoney, everybody that watches is a big help, but we can only ask you give us the big thumbs up, you subscribe. If you watch during the premiere, there's that wonderful gray little button under the chat called Super Chat. You can help the cause that way. Because let me tell you, it isn't free for us to bring you these productions. We want to bring them to you. I forget about every week. I'd love to do it every day. Like Bill O'Reilly and Anderson Cooper on those news shows.
Yeah, as long as they don't call me a murderer.
No. All I know is the story of a junior high school kid that fended off a predator. And rightfully so.
The story, remember that part. The story.
I remember that part. That should be the headline.
The story of.
All right, wrestling fans, we're going to be back with more of Marty's.
By the way, or is it too late?
No, go ahead.
The reason I stopped going to that rehab about 10 days in, man, I've seen some things that I didn't think were right. I know I don't have a degree in psychology and all that, like
like Dr. David Reese.
Who?
Dr. David Reese, the president of this organization. He's an acclaimed psychiatrist.
Really?
Yeah. He's helped a lot of the boys out.
But I've seen enough things in my days to know what's right and wrong. And this counselor, that's what I was trying to find the word, counselor, was really giving hell to this little 19-year-old kid that was in there. Because we were sitting in a little group and he'd going around asking everybody, why are you in here and why are you in there? And he came to the kid. And he goes, well, it was demanded by court that I come here. But he says it was drugs were involved because I had a bunch of marijuana, weed in my trunk. But the big thing was all the guns I had. I had a ton of guns. And that's what I do for a living. And he goes, I can't help it. And the counselor started giving him shit. You know, the guy just spoke the truth. The kid, you know, sweet little innocent boy, you would never think involved in selling guns. And one of the counselors ripping into him in front of all of us. And I'm getting more angry as the questioning goes. He asked the kid, why couldn't you get a job like everybody else? Well, the kid was like, because I was making so much money. I was making unbelievable money. He goes, yeah, but why couldn't you just make real money? And after about the third time, he said, you know, that's a sorry-ass person that would. I'd had enough of hearing it, and I jumped on him and said, hey, man, how many times you want him to fucking answer you? And the counselor was like, huh? I said, he's doing what he knows. He's a street boy. He ain't like you. He got prepped through college and gave him he goes, I have a degree on the wall. And I'm like, what'd you get it from Walmart? I don't care. You don't treat that person. And then he was like, well, where's your degree? I was about to show him. But, I didn't make nobody disappear. But I was pretty much, you know, that ruined that whole session. We had to end session. And
well, you were an advocate for the kid.
Yeah, he was pounding him in front of everybody. The kid was coming clean. He's already got tears, you know, from him. You know, he said, that's a sorry person that would sell guns and drugs. And goddamn, he just came clean with you, and you're going to pound him now. It got me. And then the very next class, we had some lady that was rude as shit.
Really?
Yeah, because she was sitting there talking sex crap with the group, and there was a couple of girls that, once it was time to start, they was giggling about something she had said about sex, and she went from cutting up with them to, y'all can leave the class if you think something's so funny. I'm like, oh goddamn, that's it, I'm done. And I got up and I said, I can't. No.
It must be a very interesting experience to have people with similar problems, but from all different walks of life, coming together in those groups. Yeah.
But so anyway, that was the end of that.
How many times
I got 10 days in.
How many times did you go to rehab? Just once?
Yeah.
And you wouldn't do it again?
There ain't no use in it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there was one class I liked, and that was it. It was just one ass class. And it gave the, it got into science. Now that I could listen to, not somebody's fucking opinion. But it was just about the brain chemicals, how they react and change, from drugs or chemicals that are put in them. And, I like that, because you're learning something. But outside that, the food was good. What's crazy is I mean, you just get one plate, and sometimes if they got leftovers, you can go, everybody go through a second time. But, it's hard to diet when you don't get to pick the food, So I'm in there trying to, I was working out and trying.
They had a gym in the rehab facility?
No, you pick a bunch of concrete blocks out in the little.
Do some push-ups,
Yeah. And, man, I'm afraid to cough. I got corona. Where's my mask? But I'm real bad about not wanting to throw food away because, when it was rough in the beginnings, you don't throw food away.
You needed every morsel.
Yes, and so it was kind of instilled in me, don't throw food away. And sometimes I eat crap I don't even want. And it was funny because every meal we had, I would eat it all. And the guys and everybody around in there would see, he's eating it. I don't really want it. They'd bring me their stuff, and I'm like, damn, I got to eat it now. And another one like, ah, shit. And it got to where I felt bad. I couldn't finish them all. I had about 4 or 5 plates in front of me of stuff I really wouldn't have ate the first helping of, but didn't want it to go into the trash can. That's like a horrible sight to me to see a plate of food go in the trash can. It's like the biggest sin in the world. But anyway, yeah, that was that experience. They had good. It was plenty of food because I was getting everybody else's.
No one else wanted it.
But it was.
What would the rhyme and routine? So I know nothing about rehab. Is it mostly classes when you go in?
Pretty much. You
group
get up
classes, individual.
Yeah, not individual.
Group classes.
Yeah, you get up in the morning for your breakfast, almost like jail, except it's an upgraded jail. Why would I know that? But you get up in the morning for breakfast, and then you go back, and you got till about 9 o'clock. Like 7 o'clock or so is breakfast. And you go through and get a bunch of pills. I guess it's to help in case you're going through withdrawals or whatever. It makes it easier where you don't go crazy and flip out like I did recently on a withdrawal. I stopped drinking for a little bit.
Did you?
Yeah,
And
I'm
you
gonna
had
try
bad
to. I'm gonna try to
withdrawal,
make
or-
it last. In fact, those beers you gave me yesterday, I still got them if you want them back.
Oh, whatever you want to do with them.
But anyway, you get a bunch of like 8, 9, 10 pills, and I guess there's something for everything, for anxiety, for blood pressure, for whatever all you need for coming off of drinking real heavy. Everything but pain pills. They didn't have no pain. but anyway, they you got it at like 9 o'clock. You got your first class, and you go in. It's a couple hours. The only thing I enjoyed about them was this other people that had gone through things, telling their story, and so and they got enough about them to not mind telling the class that they're only coming in that one day. They're coming in one day. We had one dude came in. He was from Compton, and he was really flashy with his story. So it had my attention. I was listening, but it was funny what he had said. It was like, wow, there's a lot of parallels there. I mean, he was saying that he'd moved to New Orleans because he'd found out that they serve alcohol around the clock, and I'm thinking, yeah. And then he said, and then I got burnt out there, and I found out that Las Vegas does the same thing, and I moved there, and I'm thinking, because that's what I did. I went from New Orleans to Vegas and lived out in Vegas for a while. And Vegas is, I think we might have said that last time.
We were talking about Vegas, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a party waiting, and you just open your door when you're ready. There's a party.
It's like Disney World for adults, as Nick Bockwinkel used to call it.
Yeah, but it's classes, and then you get lunch, and then you get a little free time. You go play. That's when I would work out. You go play pool or I think they had a basketball, but no hoop. So the guys would stand there like this and we shoot at him. If you didn't like him, you shoot it real hard so you rebound off the face. But and everybody was so good to me in there. Most of them knew me from wrestling. And mainly the counselors and the lady I got mad at. She was a big fan.
Oh, really?
She came over and apologized afterwards. She goes, "Yeah, I might have overreacted," and that was fine with me. I said, "Well, look, I probably did too. I shouldn't have got up and just left like that." But anyway, yeah, it was. All in all, I'd say it was a good experience, but it's not going to help a person to get over whatever the drinking problem.
The consistent
You know
pain.
what? You know who rehabs help? People that just have a couple casual drinks at Applebee's or TGIF's. Is that open tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
That's where we're going?
I think so.
All right. Even though it's Saturday.
Everything
when we're
else here
taking
is
this.
closed.
No kidding. It's awful.
Coloons is
You got to be in by 10.
yeah. They took care of us last time though. Oh.
No.
No. We took care of us.
No. We had to go up to Fridays that night.
Yeah, that's right.
Kowloon would certainly go by every restriction put in place by the town of Saugus.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I just hadn't got to it. You beat me to it.
But every time the fans watch our great episodes, they see that little Kowloon ad in the bottom corner.
No, did he?
Oh, baby. We got fans from around the world that want to try some Andy Wong's great Chinese food.
Katie, my Boston friend here, she knew about it. We were talking about getting something last night. And she mentioned, like, there's this place called Kowloon's. I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah, okay, how'd you know about it?
Under normal times, it's open until 2, but we're not in normal times anymore.
Not at all, man. That gym this morning, that was, I told you, right? When dude had plastic bags over his feet. I was like, well, now I'm scared to go in there. You got to wear all that. And all I got is this thing on.
It must have been nice to actually be able to go to the gym in a hotel, though. After last time, there was nothing.
Yeah, it was nice just getting in the gym at all, because at home I have to work out, makeshift workouts out in the yard with this iron ladder I have, and a couple weights I have. But it's a home workout.
That's what Tony's been doing up in Maine in his garage.
But you know what? And I always tell my students this when I do seminars: if you want to work out, you will work out. you'll find a way. I mean, you know, sometimes like when I was at that place last time here, I did like use chairs and stuff in the hotel room and do like shoulder lifts and, you know, do upside down. Oh, I found a bag. I took a picture of it. I'll show you later. I was doing push-ups and sit-ups on the floor between the beds, and you know, I was laying there in between sets, and I just happened to look over to the left or right. It might have been this way. whatever it was, it was a little torn-off baggie where somebody was doing cocaine. You know,
you're talking about last time?
Yes, last time.
You did show me that picture.
Oh,
yes.
I did show it to you?
You texted it to me.
Okay, yeah. It was just, they didn't even get rid of it good. They just like, oh, under the bed, it's hidden, it's gone. And the maids must have missed it for a couple.
Maybe it was the
maids.
maids.
I should have said house cleaner. I didn't mean maids. By the way, let me cover one more point real quick.
Right.
I know we got to go. In that story, I'd called the gay guy a fag. I said just fag, but and I don't mean that. I got as many gay friends as I do straight. I think, especially after working at WWE. But well, no, I mean there's just okay. But anyway,
you mean it in a nice way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mean that was just part of the story. It's kind of hard to be mad and put emphasis on you know, dudes trying to rape you, and just say he was gay, rather than the fucking fag was trying to rape me. But in no way do I mean, you know, the word fag. That was story content of that little boy that's a murderer. But yeah, I just wanted to clear that up because a couple of my friends were like, "Ah, I didn't know you felt that way." And I was like, "You should know better." You know?
Well, as they always say, actions speak louder than words, right?
Yeah.
Anyone can misspeak. Anyone can say something out of anger or frustration. But I think someone's actions over the course of their life says a lot more than an instance where maybe they said the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But that's one man's opinion. But folks, we want your opinions. Leave your thoughts, questions, opinions in the comment section below. Marty and I want to know what you think.
And don't forget these.
We're in this for the long haul.
John Cena's dad.
We're going to have like the Raw and Nitro ratings war between Tony and Marty's weekly episodes. Who do you want to see more? Who do you like more? Do you like both?
That ain't right.
Who else do you want to see? We know because we have Brutus the Barber Beefcake coming in.
I said that would be a good one. He's got some good stories. We got some together.
Growing. We're going to have quite a little team here, a family. You know, most folks are familiar with the long-form interviews we did with the Sheik, Kamala, Paul Bearer, Vader, Harley Race. The list goes on and on. But
you want me to see if call Boogeyman, see if he want to make an appearance?
Boogie?
Yeah.
Oh, Boogie was right over here in the studio.
What's that?
Boogie's been here in the studio.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because he would be good.
Oh, he was very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. But I don't know if he's as interesting as this guy. This guy's had quite the run. For my good friend, Marty Jannetty, I'm Dan Marotti. We'll see you next Thursday, 9 o'clock. Tell a friend or tell a few thousand friends. Get it out there on social media.
Or tell a wrestler.
There you go. So we can bring you more great wrestling content and keep legends like this guy, Tony, Brutus, working. It's been 6 months since these guys have had regular appearances. We want to keep them on the road out there doing well for themselves. It's tough times for everybody, we know, but we know we can do it for professional wrestlers. We'll see you next time, folks. Stay healthy.